project of International Supply Chain Management. We are group number 4. We have taken paint as a product and will be focusing on the supply chain of Asian Paints. Asian Paints is an Indian multinational company headquartered in Mumbai, Maharashtra. The company is engaged in business of manufacturing, selling and distribution of paints, coatings, products related to home decor, bath fittings and provide services for related functions. It was started in 1945 by 4 friends, Champaklal Chokshi, Chimanlal Chokshi, Suryakant Dani and Arvind Vakil. In 1967, it became world's 10th largest paint company. Today, it is India's largest and Asia's 3rd largest paint company. It has 4 factories in India, 18 processing centers, 350 raw material and intermediate goods suppliers, 140 packaging material vendors, 6 regional distribution centers and 72 depots. Paint industry is a raw material intensive industry and amounts to 70% of the total product cost, with the most critical raw materials being titanium dioxide amounting to 30% of the total cost, phthalic anhydride amounting to 20% and pentaerythritol amounting to 15% of the cost. Asian Paints has backward integrated and started producing some of its raw materials, which has resulted in considerable savings in raw material costs. Paints can be classified as decorative paints and industrial paints. Decorative paints can further be classified as interior wall finish paints, exterior wall finish paints, enamels and wood finishes. Industrial paints can be classified as industrial paints, powder coatings and other industrial paints. Asian Paints provides all the above mentioned types of paints as its products. Thank you.
So the fundamental components of oil-based paint are body, vehicle, pigment, thinner and dryer. So the body forms as the main component of paint. It makes the paint film harder and more resistant to abrasion. It reduces the shrinkage cracks on drying. Next is the vehicle. Vehicle is an oily liquid in which the body and the pigment are soluble. It facilitates the paint to be conveniently spread over the surface. So next are the pigments. So pigments are the materials which give the paint its color. So in white paint, the body is the pigment. There are 2 types of pigment, natural pigments and synthetic pigments. Next we come to thinner. So liquid thinner is added to the paint to increase the fluidity, making the paint more smooth. It helps in the penetration into porous surfaces. So next are the dryers. So dryers are basically added to quicken the drying of the vehicle. Organic salts of iron, zinc, manganese, calcium are used as dyes. So in addition to these 3 main categories of ingredients, paint can have a wide variety of miscellaneous additives. So usually additives are added in very small quantities. Some examples include additives to improve wettage, to impart antifreeze properties, fight bacterial growth, control foaming.
There are around 800 raw materials consumed by Asian Paints to make their products and around 15,000 dealers that supply them. And amongst them, titanium dioxide is the largest consumed raw materials, which constitutes around 30% of the total manufacturing costs. And this titanium dioxide is supplied by Kerala and Kerala Minerals and Metal Limited. And other than that, petroleum-based raw materials, which constitute around 40 to 50% of the raw materials, these products are mostly supplied by HPCL and BPCL. And Baba Containers is one of the suppliers that supplies the 20-liter tins that are used to store the product. And Asian Metal Containers is another supplier that supplies the printed tins for the company.
There are multiple processes involved in manufacturing of paint. There are numerous processes, but the main 3 processes are dispersion, adjustment and packaging. So in dispersion stage, the pigments are mixed with binder and suitable additives, and then it is weighted with the surfactant. Depending on the particle size, the pigment hardness and the nature of the solvent used. In the adjustment stage, the paint is stabilized to have a uniform dispersion. This process aims to obtain the desired product specificity, like its shade, its viscosity or its density. The paint is initially thinned by using a solvent to achieve the consistency of the paint, and then centrifuge machines are used to separate away the parts of the paint which are not dispersed well into the medium. Comes packaging, but before packaging, shade matching is performed. So after shade matching, the paint is packed in hoppers and kept on the floor for some time, and then it's packed in different sizes. Paint manufacturing is done in batches, so you can imagine the complexity of all the processes involved, like from dispersion till packaging. The total time required for the process of manufacturing paint till the end till packaging is typically 2 days. Now, in the Asian Paints Rohtak plant, uh, it the plant has a capacity of 200 million liters of paint every year. So that means in a minute it has the production capacity of around 380 liters per minute. In the Asian Paint Rohtak plant, the plant has 11 packaging lines for packing of the product and 7 filling lines. Each of the packaging and the filling lines has a capacity to fill or pack around 90 containers per minute. So that's the speed of the system. The Rohtak plant of Asian Paint is also highly automated, which means that almost no manual intervention is required. So you can imagine if any mistake occurs during the filling or the packing, the whole batch gets wasted. So that's how paint is manufactured.
Hello friends. Now let us look at some of the challenges faced by Asian Paints. Let it be Asian Paints or any kind of paint industry. There are some basic challenges that they face. Let us just look at it one by one. So first let us start with economic issues. So when you look at the kind of raw materials that are being used for making the paint, they all include titanium oxide, phthalic anhydride, linseed, castor and soybean seeds. So they are basically petroleum derivatives. That is 30% of all the raw materials that are used for making paints are petroleum derivatives. So any kind of fluctuation in the price of petrol will basically affect the bottom line of the paint that they are making. So economic issue is one of the basic criteria, basic challenge that any kind of paint industry face. And second is the cyclical nature of demands for paints. So in India, when you see the houses gets painted only during festive season, and the customers don't paint the houses for every year. That is, if they paint the house this year, they don't think of painting it for the next 4 or 5 years. So the demand is highly fluctuating, and there are two kinds of demands in India. One is the one that's coming from B2B, and the other is from B2C. So B2B has a very consistent demand, that is, they supply for automotive industries and other commercial vehicle sectors, and the second type of demand is from the real estate sector. That is highly fluctuating. And the third is the environmental hazards. So paint mainly constitutes a larger amount of lead, mercury and chromium, and for the particular company to be certified to be green, it has to reduce the amount of lead, mercury and chromium it uses. Basically it's the VOC, volatile organic compounds, should be minimal. So one of the prime requirements for any product is that it has to be environmentally friendly. So the government of any nation looks at it as a prime component. So government basically wants the amount of VOC, that is volatile organic compounds, in any paint to be minimal. That is, the use of lead, mercury and chromium has to be minimum. So this is a major challenge that Asian Paints face currently. And next challenge is the political issues. So since 30% of the raw materials that are used in making this product is being imported, so the currency fluctuations plays a major role in regulating its bottom line. The next challenge that we are going to look at is the supply chain challenge. So as we discussed earlier, the raw materials require huge lead time. So it means the company needs to have a large amount of inventory with them. So which in turn means that it needs to employ a large amount of working capital, which means the company should be hugely cash rich, which is the key success factor for Asian Paints. So when you look at companies like Amazon and Flipkart that are operating in negative working capital, that is, they don't even employ any money. So they get paid for goods that they have not provided to customers. Customers pay them in advance and they give a credit time to the suppliers. So, in a scenario where companies like Amazon and Flipkart are operating in negative working capital, this paint industry operates with high positive working capital.
Some of our key recommendations to improve the supply chain of Asian Paints are implementing cross-docking strategies at their warehouses, especially at the times of peak demand, hiring suppliers that can offer material demand aggregation, and using those suppliers implement just-in-time inventory or vendor management inventory strategies. This can help reduce the upstream supply chain lead time. Working on creating new packaging for the products to improve the space utilization during transportation and at warehouses. Working on new demand planning algorithms using artificial intelligence and machine learning. And researching on new technologies like blockchain to improve the supply chain transparency.